transmission right here, and you know, it has to be gone through a little bit. It was shifting a little hard, not gonna lie. And by hard, I mean sluggish. So I kind of think that there's a line pressure issue. Plugged filter. Filter, as far as I know, is the OEM one. Rear output seal was leaking, transmission pan is leaking, input seal is leaking. Or input seal might be leaking, hard to say. So basically, the idea is we're gonna clean them up on the outside, that kind of stuff. Flip them over, change the filter, change the seals, and have at her. So let me start cleaning this guy up. It's gonna be a time lapse, put my safety goggles on, we'll make them shiny. Transmission here. What I'm going to do, we're going to flip them over, take the pan off, and just see what that filter looks like. All right, let's flip them over. Oh yeah, make a mess. Oh yeah. Good, good, good. Okay. Corral that in with some rags here. All right, let's take that pan off. Lickety split. Okay, pan comes off. Oh yeah, we got a really dirty pan. Really dirty pan. Let me bring you guys in. You guys will see. We'll hope that a filter is gonna, fix this guy up just good. So this is our pan filter. As you can see, we got a metallic insider, not exactly ideal. And then that's our pan here. Got a little bit of clutch material on the bottom. Not the worst I've ever seen. So we're gonna clean up that pan. We're gonna take that filter off and replace it with the new filter. That should hopefully clean that guy up. We'll brake clean the entire inside, clean up our gasket surface, reseal this guy. Start out with that. Off with the old filter. There we go. Yeah, this filter is well done. No word of a lie there. Let's go get the new filter. But first, we'll brake clean off that entire inside. All right, let's give her a nice old spritz. Really kind of get in there. I would like to take this valve body off, but we're not going to take them off just because we don't have a replacement for it. Like, as in, if I'm going to take it off, what we would do is we would put a shift kit or something into it. We'll save that for a later date. But the filter should be able to grab any junk that we miss. But we'll try to get the majority of it. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to clean up the outside surface, might as well, while the filter is off. Not a bad plan. What we'll do, we'll spray her down again. Wipe her down. Maybe we'll tip it, get most of the goo out of her. Spray that all down. We got a transmission filter kit basically here. Comes with a couple O-rings, that kind of stuff. Should, help her out, get her all back together, all nice and good. Comes with the pan gasket, and then the gasket that goes right here. So, we should be able to clean this guy all up, put that guy on. It should, if the filter was the issue, this should wake this transmission right up. Kind of rag off that surface there. Got to make sure she can seal and she can suck her up. But it's going to be submerged anyway, so it's not a huge deal. So, this fella now goes on somewhat like so. We'll grab our two little tiny bolts. And by tiny, I mean really tiny, as you can see. Put that guy on, put that guy on. Snug them down. Now what we got to do, we just got to put the gasket on, but we have to clean up the pan first. And the before and after really is surreal. Look at that, crazy. Also found this wubba inside the pan. Not supposed to be there. He's something. I think he's actually to this O-ring right here. I think he's supposed to be just like that. Broke off a long time ago and, you know, fell into the pan. Oh well, is what it is. Let's clean up this pan. So what we got here is a couple clean rags. What I want to do first is just mop up all this inside here, because we know anything in this pan is debris from inside that transmission. We'll be able to learn a lot this way. That way I can see pretty much everything. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to mop up all of this. So while we got it clean here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this guy on a block of wood, because we got a few dents in this pan, and it's limiting our capacity at the end of the day. So, I'm going to put a block of wood, and I'm going to pound those guys out. There. Is it beautiful? No. But did it work fine? You bet your bottom dollar. So now, what we have to do is get this gasket off. Basically just going to scrape off the majority of it, pull off the majority, it's just a cork gasket, clean up the surface, and then clean up the back, then we'll be ready to bolt it right onto the transmission. Now we basically have this guy all done. On the pan, bring him over. The pan I just kind of roughed up with the wire wheel, got all the extra garbage off. So now what we're going to do, just a small skim of RTV, because it's an uneven surface and, you know, it's not planed or anything like that. Same as this guy, it's a used pan, so just the cork gasket ain't going to cut it on this one. So we're going to do just a thin coat here, cork gasket in between. Snug it down, let it set, and then we'll torque them up later on. Now we're going for just a thin coat of RTV. Don't got to get crazy. We're not counting the RTV to seal it up. We're just counting for the RTV to basically seal up any little pores that the cork gasket isn't going to be able to do. If it was a new transmission, and if it was a new pan, especially a new pan, we wouldn't have to do this step. But we do because it's not new. Just how it is. Sometimes you can't play by the book if you're not doing things by the book. You got to remember that. We're just going to spread them out with our finger. Nothing too crazy. Again, as I'm doing this, I'm going to stress the fact that normally you pick one or the two. You do RTV or you do the gasket, because, you know, RTV with gasket makes gasket slide, and it can slide out a spot. It's a true thing. But when you're doing things not by the book, right? We're not buying a new pan for this transmission. We're not machining that down, making it all nice and pretty, where all the pores and stuff in the aluminum are. The run-of-the-mill cork gasket isn't going to have the oomph to seal this bad boy up. It will leak. So, real-world solutions, thin coat of RTV, just a thin coat. This is not enough RTV to seal it up by itself, but it is enough RTV to seal it up with a cork gasket. The RTV is basically just making both of these surfaces flat, so then the cork gasket doesn't have to work nearly as hard to close her up. So what we'll do, we'll put the cork gasket on the pan side. Might as well start him off. The RTV will kind of help hold him in place too, which is nice. Position them, and then put them on. Perfect. Okay. Put a couple bolts in. Good stuff. Get out the torque wrench, and we'll torque them to 25 foot-pounds. All right, so now we got the transmission still on its side. It's time to, take this input seal out and change them out for a new hot unit. The input seal wasn't leaking on this, but it's so hard to change the input seal with, it in the car. Might as well, change her right now. I think that's going to be the best call to do. There we go. One transmission input seal, very, very brittle. So it's likely a good thing that we're changing them out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in here with a little bit of sandpaper, clean up this fella, right here, basically the outer lip. Scotch-Brite that fella. Take our new seal, put 4 dollops of the old Ritiv on him. That way he seals up very nicely on the outside, just kind of like a wheel seal. That's pretty much, you know, what it is. And then we'll take him, we'll put him inside here, slide him on, and just tap him inside. If we had the right seal driver, it'd make life, you know, a lot easier. But, you know, we don't. So that's okay. There we go. So he's all sealed in. So now we're just going to put a little bit of goo just on the inside. And by goo, I mean white lithium grease. And now, when that torque converter goes in, we won't have to worry about it ripping anything. Well, there you go, fellas. That's one thing we can kind of check off the list. Basically, just did a quick service to the transmission. Nothing too crazy. Input seal and a pan. I would have wanted to do the output seal. It wasn't leaking. But it turns out we ordered the wrong part, so it's not going to get one. At least right now, we can always do that in the car. That's not a big deal. So that completes the transmission in, you know, the large scope of things, which is pretty darn sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one really, really soon.